your highest margin thing you sell should be the wrap. So these are lower margined items, but much easier lifts. Like you have a lot more leverage. It's a quick sell, not as high of a margin, but it's still just adding some additional profitability. Are you wrapping cars more than 12 hours a day, every day? Working nonstop, but can barely get by? Burnout, missing deadlines, and wondering just how much longer you can keep this up?
That was us too. We started our wrap shop buried under $250,000 in debt, and it felt absolutely impossible. But we dug out, built a profitable shop, and are still in the trenches of owning and operating a wrap shop. We're here to share what we learned along the way so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did.
And we're here to help you with the business side of the wraps, like pricing, building a team, streamlining your systems, ultimately so that you can run your shop and your shop stops running you.
Welcome to the Wrap Ops Podcast, brought to you by Wrap Fam Unleashed. We're so excited to be joining you in your shop today and hope that we can bring you a value-packed episode. This one should be a pretty quick one on how to just make some more money in your shop without having to sell a bunch of extra wraps and put more, time into install. Yeah. So we just want to have a creative mindset around that. And that is the gist of today's episode. But before we get into it, we do have a couple housekeeping items that we did want to announce. Do you want to take it away?
Sure. So one of the biggest ones is we have now got a new sponsor. So Grimco will be joining the sponsor team. Just a quick shout out to our previous sponsors, the Wrap Institute being a sponsor and Wrap Fam Unleashed, kind of are the three main sponsors that we have. We are always looking for more sponsors. So if you go to wrapops.com, there is a sponsorship link there. If sponsoring on our podcast is something that you think would be valuable to you. I know one kind of big shout out to our sponsors in general and just where we're at. A podcast is not free by any means. Even with those sponsors, we're still losing money every month to bring this to you. But we are blessed enough that our shop is running well, hence the whole point of what we're saying on the mic, that we get to be a little choosy about it. So the three sponsors we have now, we have some real good, almost personal, not even almost actual personal testimonials of how those people have helped us and those brands have helped us and continue to help us as a wrap shop. It allows us to be a little selective on the sponsors that we bring to you guys to, because at the end of the day, we're putting our reputation on them. So we're going to vet those sponsors, make sure that we really do genuinely feel like they are going to be a value add to anyone that takes advantage of the sponsors. So just kind of to give you that extra kind of shout out or testimonial to anyone listening. When we mention a sponsor, we do it knowing our reputation's on the line. So.
Yeah. And speaking of sponsor, the Wrap Institute is one of them, and they actually let us go live on their platform every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So super cool. We do a 30-minute Q&A, so you can hop on there. It's just a Zoom call. You do have to be a Wrap Institute member to log into that. So if you're not already, definitely check that out, and you can use promo code WRAPOPS15 for 15% off of your subscription. But each week we pick a different topic. We just finished one up today, and it was on design. Next week is marketing, and then we had one on sales. So each week, just kind of a different broad topic, and you can come with your questions prepared, ask us live in person, or drop it in the chat, and we'll answer. So that's a cool interactive format that we get to offer through another one of our sponsors, which we're really grateful for as well. And then we also are on the Pain is Dead Patreon show series, and that gets dropped every Sunday, and that's exclusive content to Patreon only, so you won't find that information on our free podcast as well. So we kind of have some other ways to interact with me and Andrew and get some information across to you guys. So definitely check those out. And am I missing anything else?
The only other thing to shout out is we are looking for guests as well. And on our website, wrapops.com, there is a guest application form. By all means, if this is your first time, this is new to you, if you've listened to our previous podcast, we like to be short, to the point, to the punch of value add. It's not
short does not mean brief with our words, because I've listened to a few of our episodes. We can be long-winded sometimes.
That's fair, but none of our episodes go past an hour. And
we try to keep it at an hour.
The guest interviews are no different. It is is there something in this industry that you feel like you can give back and teach? And that is ultimately what we want to have that conversation around. And
you'll see that in the application. So it'll ask you what's the topic that you think you could bring value to. So it's not really a come on here and promote your wrap shop type thing. But definitely, do you have something that you're like, oh, I figured this out. That would be a cool episode. And then it'd be great content for you to share on your own social media pages as well.
Yeah,
so the application is on there if you want to fill that out. It's just a Google form. And we would love to see what you have to say. Cool.
I think that's it for housekeeping.
Okay. Alrighty. So diving into today's episode, we're going over what we have decided is the top 4 upsells you could do for your wrap shop to just kind of get a little extra money in the bank with not that much effort. A little bit of effort. Everything is a little bit of effort.
A little bit of effort.
But yeah, do you want to take it away with number 1?
Yeah, absolutely. So number 1 is going to be the protect the investment with kind of that wrap adjacent upsell. So at this point, you've probably already sold them the wrap. So it's that kind of that take it that extra step to now protect your investment. So that's, ceramic coatings, maybe even a paint protection film on kind of those high impact places. I will say that one's with an asterisk because that is a little bit more labor intensive than some of the other upsells. Ceramic coating's a little easier.
But if you have a PPF installer that's sitting around with their hands, free, then that'd be a good one for you. But if you don't do the PPF one.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of got to monitor. Every shop's a little different. Kind of pay attention to what your bandwidth is. And, if your PPF installer is already just stressed out, maxed out at capacity,
don't upsell that.
Maybe not upsell that on every job. But the ceramic coating, that's a really easy one to do. You can usually train a lower skilled, someone that's still kind of building up their skill on the team, teach them how to do that pretty quickly. And then the other one is going to be the aftercare products. So have some form of kind of small retail and sell them the soaps and the wrap specific detailers as that extra, $20, $50, $100 type of upsell. And it really doesn't add any extra labor or work to anyone.
Yeah. I think the key thing there too is you need to decide when you're going to try to upsell it. So do you already have the vehicle in your shop or are you going to upsell it before they ever drop off?
Yeah.
That being said, a little issue we ran into is the wrap has to be done, obviously, for you to add that paint protection film or the ceramic coating. So maybe you need to tell the customer, hey, are you interested in ceramic coating? But we do need it for one additional day.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Or do you have a team member that maybe you're like us and you book Monday to Monday? Can a team member come in on a Saturday and get it done?
Yeah.
So just be a little aware of it will increase the timing. And we've had a few scenarios where the customer says no. And then when they drop off, they go, actually,
and then
I want the ceramic coating.
Yeah.
So and just adjust the timing.
I think that's a good point to think about as well on these upsells. And I'm sure it'll kind of be a theme that carries over the next few as well, is at what point do you ask for the upsell? So for example, we ceramic coating, paint protection, and the aftercare kind of soaps.
Mm-hmm.
At the point of pickup is probably not the time to then sell them ceramic coating and paint protection film, but it's a beautiful time to sell them the cleaners and the soaps.
Especially if they can see it and it's right in front of them. That is a huge difference in the sales as well.
But at the point of drop off would be a great time to try to sell those ceramic coatings and stuff like that. Maybe may or may not be the paint protection film because you might have an inventory issue.
Yeah.
But inventorying a bottle of ceramic coating is like nothing.
And with the ceramic coating, just because this took us years to do, would you recommend the ceramic coating display?
Yes. Yeah,
we have
100%.
been avoiding it for 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And then the day you set it up, we sold it.
Yeah. Yeah, it generates a ton of interest. Definitely.
And if you haven't seen it, this is like a little hood, water display. We have it sitting on our front desk.
Yeah.
You'll see it at trade shows all the time.
Absolutely.
You can buy it online. But I have noticed people have a hard time understanding what ceramic coating is, and everyone's very visual. But again, that's a little weird if they're picking up their vehicle and they see it. So hopefully they see it either at drop off or before.
And it's also, to that point, something that we'll be able to utilize as well if we're trying to sell it before drop off or depending on what the project is, maybe the person dropping off isn't the decision maker, whatever, is you have a whole ass display on your lobby. You can grab your phone and take a little 4-second video of it and text it over to them.
Yeah.
But
technology.
We should have definitely got that. And it's not free, But
Well, how much was it?
like $200, I think.
Okay,
Is
so
give or take
$200.
about what we invested in
Yeah.
in having it. Then the hood that comes with it, we wrapped it, then actually coated it. So like all in, I think $200, and we put a custom wrap on the hood to match our branding, and like we made it look like our product.
Yeah.
As
So all
far
that
as
to
the
say,
display.
because it took us years to make that decision, because we're like, we don't need that. But I just don't think people know what it is.
Spend the $200 to add a $700 to $1,500 upsell to your product.
And one other thing I do want to say about ceramic coating, I know we're hitting this one hard, but it's because like every single problem you can have with ceramic coating, we have figured it out. We do not offer ceramic coating on anything less than a full wrap. So you don't want to take someone's car that's completely filthy and have to completely detail it and then ceramic coating. So it's always an upsell on full wraps only. And I tell clients that right away. Like we had a guy stop in wanting a chrome delete quote, and he saw the display and goes, "Oh, can I add that on?" And I was like, "You'd have to have a full wrap for that one because we'd have to detail the whole car." And he immediately was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense."
Yeah. And if you have a wrap shop that has full on detailing, then maybe that's not a pain point for you. But we don't detail, so that's a pain point for us. So we only offer it to those full wraps.
So cool. All right, moving into number 2. This one is extending the relationship with your customer, and you're doing that through kind of like a maintenance and a care program. So maybe that is every quarter you are checking in with your clients, asking them to come in. Maybe you're offering a wash. Again, if you have detailing as a service, this would be excellent for you to add in, especially if your detailers have some downtime. So you are checking on that wrap that was installed, checking the edges, kind of like a quality check. And then maybe this could be like a subscription model. There's all sorts of ways you can run this. But the other cool part about this is if you are checking in with your customers, let's say quarterly, to check on the quality of the wrap, make sure nothing's peeling, they might have purchased a vehicle and have been meaning to call you.
Right.
And so you have that extra touch point to where they don't forget about you. From our experience, it's a pretty common thing that they just forget about you because they have a lot going on. So you don't want to wait 5 years to reach out to your clients. So, and that could be automated to an email, to a text message. There's all sorts of ways to automate that. But that one's a double whammy because it's kind of like maintenance and care, but it's also like keeping your customers close.
Yeah. And I think it just helps build that good relationship. The emphasis is we all know in the space what's going to make a wrap, deteriorate and fail faster than it should. Pretty much public enemy number 1 and 2 is either the sun is just sun fading it or they're not cleaning it. So you can help them by eliminating the cleaning part of it, because we all know perfect world, a vehicle's getting cleaned like, every 2 weeks or whatever, hand washed. Contractors aren't doing that, whatever. So if you're able to sell them just a quarterly clean, one, you're protecting your work because it is a representation of you and your shop, continuing that relationship with the customer. And then it's going to be honestly probably a shockingly high percentage of the time that a customer, because you're doing these extra touch-ins, they're like, "Oh yeah, I just bought this," or "I've been meaning to do this." And you're just reminding them who you are, because there's a lot of ego in this industry. And I'm not immune to that. I definitely was like, "Oh, in Dayton, Ohio, everyone knows who Performance Wraps is. They don't forget that name."
They forget.
And I literally this was a couple years ago, we did like 7 wraps for this customer. And then on Facebook, he's like, I just bought 2 trucks. Who do we know that can wrap? And I just called him immediately. I was like, "Dude, what's up, man?" He's like, "I completely forgot." I'm like, how you forget who we are? So anyway, but
that was on us.
That was on us.
We didn't follow up with him.
Yeah, it had been a couple of years and we hadn't been in front of him. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so that's a really easy one that you can do. I will say the thing to watch out for on that one, if you are just throwing your wraps on and that you don't have good quality and it looks like garbage, this one will bite you in the butt, because then they're going to say, "Look at this bubble, I need this fixed. Look at this, I need this fixed," which we have endured in the very beginning of our journey when we did our 30-day checks and everything was failing. But it's a lot better to be ahead of it and figure out what's wrong, train your staff, show your staff. If they're not there, take a picture and say, "This is how this looked. This is why I want to train everybody on it."
And it's humbling, especially when you start seeing your work after, 30 days, 3 months, 3 years. It gets humbling real fast, especially early on. And if you've never done it before, because, it's easy to make it look good when it rolls out of the garage. It's like step 1. But to install it in a way that it lasts, 30 days, 3 months, 3 years. To get actually seeing your work more frequently, you'll start catching like, oh, shoot.
We consistently do this wrong.
Yeah, like that. I'm doing something wrong here because
Yeah.
that should not be failing like this.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. And then we are actually, this is new. We're going to take a quick pause and let you guys hear a word from our amazing new sponsors. And while you are listening to that, if you could send this episode to maybe a buddy that you think wants to increase the profits in their wrap shop and let them know, that would be awesome. So we'll catch you back after this fun ad from our sponsor.
After years of running a wrap shop, I've learned this. Your supplier should be a partner, not a question mark. That's why we trust Grimco. For over 5 years now, they have delivered on time and backed us when it mattered most. There's enough to manage in this business. Your supplier should not be one of them. Set up your new account today. Use code RAPOPS5 for 5% off your first order with Grimco. And we're back again. Thank you and shout out to those sponsors. We are on bullet point 3 of ways to kind of increase the profits in your shop. And this one is going to be capturing those fleet marketing dollars. So those add-ons that we have found that work are going to be those yard signs, business cards, and door hangers, the stuff that those fleet industry customers buy the crap out of. They just probably don't traditionally buy it from their wrap shop. Those are going to be definitely some pretty good add-ons to add on to your shop. I'm assuming you're not printing on flatbed printers with cutters and all of that, so you probably can't do this one in-house. This is going to be a beautiful way to either find a good online wholesaler to get those from, or to build a good relationship with a local print company that maybe doesn't sell wraps but sells those other things, kind of whatever works best for you, your market, wherever you're at. But what I like most about these is in a wrap shop, the most usually, at least from what we experience and what I've seen from the, however many shops that we've interviewed and talked to and everything over the years, is the most valuable and scarce resource is the installer. Even more specifically, the skilled installer. So upselling those yard signs, business cards, and door hangers is allowing you to increase revenue, but you're not stressing out your scarcest resource. You probably have some bandwidth and flexibility in that design kind of print department. So that's where these fall in beautifully.
And something that wasn't mentioned, the way we do it specifically in our shop is very similar to the ceramic coating that we only offered that on full wraps.
Yeah.
We offer this as an upsell to our existing fleet customers. So if someone just called right off the rip and said, I just want yard signs, we typically would not take that on.
Right.
So we do it as an upsell. That being said, I'm sure there's people listening to me that are like, that's stupid. Why didn't you take that on? The reasoning is because now our designer has to gather all their assets, do this design back and forth. Whereas when you already have the full wrap designed and you're just doing the business card yard signs, the designer that we have is just already taking those elements and just putting it in a tiny square format. So the approval process is way fast because our design and print is still busy.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to bog them down so much that we make them stressed out.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, if we were completely slow, maybe.
Yeah.
So assess your own business on that if that's a good idea for you or not.
And I think to that point, we have found with all of these upsells, usually, with the exception of maybe some of the outliers with, paint protection film or even a ceramic coating, but the margins are usually lower than normal. Your highest margin thing you sell should be the wrap.
Mm-hmm.
So these are lower margined items, but much easier lifts. You have a lot more leverage. It's a quick sell, not as high of a margin, but it's still just, adding some additional profitability. If you go to our local shop's website, you won't be able to find that we do yard signs, business cards, or door hangers. We only upsell that at the point of purchase when they're actually buying a full wrap.
Yeah, and that's a good point there. It's a set system. Our front desk person knows exactly when to offer this as well. And if we're like completely punched in the mouth and slammed, then she won't say anything.
Right.
So you can kind of assess it to when you need it and when you don't need it.
And to that point, yard signs, business cards, and door hangers, similar to what we talked about in point 2 with the maintenance and ongoing stuff, is your home services, skill trade, that fleet type customer is going to burn through that product faster than they burn through their wrap. So it's adding those touch points that they're coming back to you more frequently to buy another set. Like, give me another 100 of those yard signs. And that's that's just another touch point. That's another open conversation. And in that conversation, that's when it opens up of like, I need another, 100 yard signs. Obviously it's a conversation. Hey, how have you been? And we're doing great. Actually eyeing in on another transit van that we're going to hopefully buy next quarter.
Exactly.
And then that kind of just that flywheel of, getting them back, being top of mind when they are buying those vehicles.
Mm-hmm. And also as, like marketing, that's a really easy email to send out to your fleet customers of, do you need to re-up yard signs? Because they may, from my experience, they just have so much going on that they don't think about it until you put it right in front of them.
Yeah, you got to make it easy for them.
So really easy little marketing thing there as well. So cool. Anything else on fleet adjacent upsells?
I don't think so. Those are the three biggest ones. By all means, you should hopefully have relationships with your customers already. When we started bringing these on, I just started calling the customers I had good relationships with and just asking them directly of like, I'm looking at adding these on. I'm trying to, lean into this a little bit more. Are you buying these things? What are you buying? What quantities are you buying? And if you have built your relation or your shop on good relationships with your customers, generally speaking, they've been wide open of just like, here's my last receipt. This is what I normally buy.
A lot of the time it's like Vistaprint or something, and they don't have a relationship.
It's like they don't have a relationship with where they're buying them from.
Yeah,
and
if they do, they'll tell you like, oh, my best friend is who sells it to me, and it's like, okay,
fair. And even if that is the case, they probably still have a good enough relationship with you that they still might tell you what they're paying and what they're getting.
Yeah.
So you can at least use that as a reference to make sure you're competitive in your market. Because at the end of the day, these are lower margin things, but you should still be pricing them in a way that you're not losing money. It still should be a good incentive to sell them. Yeah. So I know internally we've worked a math that we actually built in a commission incentive to our front desk to sell these items. But we had to make sure that the margin was still there. Like that's a whole nother podcast, way more complicated math. But anyway, don't just because you can get a good wholesale price because of your shop doesn't mean you should then lose money every time you sell these things. You still should be making a margin.
Yep.
Cool. Take us to number 4.
Okay, and then the final one that we've come up with. So this one is going to be dependent on your shop and your setup. What's going well, what's not going well, all of those things. So you're going to monetize what you already have and specifically what has downtime. So this wasn't always the case for us, but it is somewhat recent where we had some wiggle room in our design and print, just the way that we have structured our design and print department. There were times where we noticed, hey, like our print operator is going home pretty early. We paid a hefty fee for our printer and we want to keep that printer working as much as we can. So if you have a printer, if you have to keep the printer running. You can't buy a printer and only use it once a month. Everything will dry out, if I'm still correct on that.
Yeah, no, it's no different than that printer you had in high school. When you don't print on it for 2 weeks, it all dries up and you have more problems than it's worth. Large format printers are no different.
Exactly. So you have a little workhorse that's just sitting there. So what we did in our shop was started offering design only services and print only services. There's a lot of local wrap shops that will call us when they're in a pinch and they need a print done quickly, and we will help them out if we can. There have definitely been times where we're like, the soonest we can get to it is, this date. But for us, we kind of were able to lean on design and print to get more things done. We can also lean on them when it comes to sales. If they're super slow and we're trying to sell a customer, hey, can you come up with some designs so that we can see if we can kind of land this customer? So lean on what has free time in your shop. If it's, like I said earlier, your PPF installer, maybe you have one guy that does your PPF and you're not having a lot of jobs, then maybe it's time to really start upselling the crap out of PPF. Kind of go from there. So just kind of assess your departments and what has free time.
Yeah. And I think to that point of just some of the things that we've done wrong on that same effort is going to be like we used to try to upsell the Chrome deletes and stuff like that. Because we thought, we
get a
didn't.
full wrap. You
We
probably
did.
want to do
Yeah,
it
we
in the
did.
chrome.
We
and that was
only
us,
we
thought.
only thought about what more can we sell them,
Mhm.
not bandwidth of the team. What is a good margined item, stuff like that. And we would be like, oh, here, get some taillight tent, get some chrome delete, and all of those were highest skilled installer
Yeah.
items, which just put even more constraint on our scarcest resource.
But if you have like
So-
20 highly skilled installers, that might be great for you.
Sell the crap out of it.
Yeah. So, but at the time we had that. And if you know about chrome deletes, those are always like your most picky customers. So
Mhm.
anytime there's a sliver of chrome, they wanted it redone. And we were like, okay, this isn't as good as we thought it
it's
was
like
going
we
to
should
be.
stop pushing this as much as we are.
Yeah, exactly. So, lean on to who has time and try to help the person who is completely slammed. Because there's nothing worse than like your hardest working installer being told like, by the way, the client added this on and we didn't adjust the deadline at all.
Mhm.
So that's really stressful.
Yeah.
So
And I think to that, just like take a minute, sit back, figure out what you have. Maybe you have I'm just spitballing here. Maybe you have a full-time content creator on your team. You don't really need the full time. So maybe and part of your upsells is you sell some photo package to your fleet guys.
Mhm.
That's just like off the wall. It's not something we've done, but just something to like kind of take a step back, assess your business, where you're at, where your bandwidth and your constraints are, and kind of think of those, like what can you upsell that plays to your strengths, plays to the bandwidth you have, and can increase your margin a little bit.
And I would just be cautious about what is it? The jack of all trades is a skill of none. Is that the saying? A little disagreement in the industry on that of if you should offer every single service under the sun or if you shouldn't. Me and Andrew lean more of you should stay in your lane, do what you're good at, and do it really well.
Yeah.
But there are definitely other shops that want to do every single thing and close those jobs. Again, it's just how is your shop structured and set up? How are you training? What team do you have and whatnot? And the last thing that we just wanted to touch on, so we did our top 4. So that was protecting the investment with those wrap related upsells, extending the relationship with some sort of care package for the wraps, fleet marketing upsells. That's your business cards, yard signs, and door hangers, and then monetizing what you already have going on. So those were the top 4. But the last thing that you want to do before you're just as the owner, like, you know what? We sell yard signs now. You do have a little bit of pre-work you need to do before you implement it. So you want to probably pick what your upsells are, establish. I wouldn't go crazy and go for 20. Maybe just start with 1 or 2 and see how they go. You're going to assign ownership to who is responsible for selling that. Is it you? Is it your sales rep? Is it your installer? Is it your front desk? I don't know. That's up to you to figure out. And then kind of script that positioning, come up with the pricing. It shouldn't be let me figure out what the price is every single time you sell it. It should be fast. Like, right. I know 10 yard signs is $100, whatever it might be. So that the pricing is very clear. Mm-hmm. And if you have a CRM, automate that, put that as a line item in your CRM. So that's good. And then lastly, make sure your whole team is trained and up to speed on it, because the last thing you want to do is just willy-nilly start going to the back of your shop and saying, hey, guess what? You're doing, ceramic coating. I forgot the word about it. I was going to say chrome delete. You're doing ceramic coating today. I need you to work late. It's probably not going to go over well. I mean, you could do that. But if you can kind of sit your team down and say, hey, we're going to try some upsells. My goal is to not stress out this department because they're slammed. Yeah. So we're going to implement this here. You can expect this to start selling hopefully within the next week or 2. Just kind of talk to your team and get everyone on board with the why, what you're doing it, and how you're doing it, and ask for their feedback. Maybe there's something that you're upselling that is completely ruining their life. And, you can take that feedback and adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think one last to that kind of implementation side is if you felt like you resonated with some of our stories of you haven't talked to your customers in like 5 years, this might be a good reason to make that call.
Yeah, it does kind of give you an excuse instead of like, hey, do you need another wrap? It's like, hey, guess what? We started offering this add-on service and I thought about you. Are you interested?
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. So awesome. Cool. Well, that is all we have for you today. I hope you found some value in today's episode. And again, the biggest takeaway I want you to get is be creative. You got to think outside the box. The answer isn't always sell more wrap, put more wrap on.
Right.
There's other ways that you can help your wrap shop out. So if you have any direct questions that you would like to ask us, and we might just make an episode out of it, head over to wrapops.com. Please like and subscribe, and even leave us a review on the podcast. That helps other wrap shops find us. And we will see you in the next episode. Anything I do, you mimic.
Yeah. The Wrap Institute, the largest online wrap training platform, now with a special offer. Use our code WRAPOPS15 for 15% off your order.